Hello and welcome back to Devolution Magazine, and here today I am here with more British rock royalty, metal royalty even. Orange Goblin are in the house. Hello!
Too kind, I mean, come on.
Well, there we go. Right, can I start by saying thank you so much for doing a red-blooded heavy metal album.
Hey!
It's
That's what we like.
so good to hear something that's not got core attached to the end of it, it's just metal.
Yeah.
Fabulous new album, Science Not Fiction. And I, as I said, I reviewed it for you in Devolution Magazine, so I had to pick up this interview because.
And thank you so much for that. And when we record every song, we stop the song halfway through. So, is this red-headed? What did you say? Red-headed.
Red-blooded.
Red-blooded.
Headed.
Or red-headed.
Saucy.
That was another day, wasn't it? Red. Whatever you said.
Red-blooded heavy metal.
Red-blooded heavy metal. And if it wasn't, we'd stop the song and start again.
But
I'm glad you noticed.
Oh yeah, I mean, one thing that caught my attention about the album mostly was the fact that, because it all does sound like Orange Goblin, it sounds like an Orange Goblin album, but each track has its own identity.
Sure.
And they all seem to have different takes on, like one's spacey, one's kind of like Sabbathy, one's a bit of a like gallop on it. Sure. You know, it's like each has its own identity, and I just thought it was a marvellous thing, because these days you hear a lot of albums where it's just the same thing.
Well, yeah, a little bit of discussion did go on to that, kind of, because we had a whole bunch of riffs, everyone brought a load in, but I do remember the discussion going, we've got one that's a bit doomy, we've got one that's a bit Sabbathy, we needed one that's a fast one, and so we kind of picked the strongest of the various types of riff that we like and build them into songs, and it kind of
we have I've mentioned this loads because I repeat myself continuously, but we have the bucket of riffs, which we come in and we just pour them out. So, I've got this one, and sometimes I'll come in with a whole song and they're like, I like that bit.
Yeah.
Song. The rest of it's rubbish, and I'll cry for half an hour. We'll keep that bit there. But yeah, Harry's right. It's just got literally like, and it's what makes it. It's when you're playing and you go, oh wow, that sounds good. Can I swear?
Yeah, of course you can swear.
So that sounds blooming good. And it just kind of you find the moments that make you go, oh.
Exactly, the bits that you want to play again.
Sure.
Yeah. You go, I can't wait to put that riff's coming round. I like playing that one.
Yeah,
right.
It's literally that.
Yeah, one of the most fun things about the writing process, I kind of prefer it to all other processes of being in a band. Just coming out of a room, just the four of you with grins on your faces, going, that was cool.
Yeah.
That's what are we going to do with this? It's an exciting.
Yeah, it's great. That's the first time it locks, and then you're like,
it's the locking.
That's the better buzz than any gig I've ever done.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Well, it's a wonderful summer this summer, as I was saying. It's a great time for British metal because you're back in our headphones, as is Earth Tone 9 are back, and funnily enough, to tie all that together, the first time I saw your band live was at I think it was at the Lost Weekend, or it was Tattoo the Planet. It was one of those big turn of the millennial mega gigs in London. One of those Kerrang gigs or something. And Earth Tone 9 played as well.
Yeah.
And it was my first time seeing them as well. So that was the first time I got the full night of both bands.
Yeah.
And it's just funny that it's landed. I got both albums like within a week of each other.
Didn't the fella from Earth Tone 9 stand in
Neil,
once as well?
Neil stood in for me because my Achilles tendon broke, like it does.
Randomly.
I kicked a ball and we were on tour in Italy, and Neil's a great guy. He's a great guitar player, and great with the band as well. So he's flying again. But he just kind of, I couldn't play the rest of the tour.
Oh, right.
Because my Achilles just exploded. I thought I was shot. And he covered for me. Imagine that, like the next day I had to go home and he covered the rest of the tour,
awesome.
All the songs. So that guy is on
fire.
Yeah. That band, I've done that.
Well, this is what's so joyous about this summer is it's proper, like you can hear the proper British metal sound, and not taking anything away from new metalcore bands and all that sort of stuff, but there is a kind of sound, and it's like Therapy have got it, Orange Goblin have got it, Earth Tone 9 have got it, Maiden have
British
got it.
Sound
it's very British.
Yeah, so many British bands are trying to sound, or their influences are American or European or whatever. But there are a bunch of bands that do maintain that British grittiness, and there's a certain thing about it. You can hear it.
Yeah.
It's almost like a feeling more than an actual tone, you know.
Absolutely.
But I've tried to sound American, I just can't. I've tried to bring a southern riff in and it's like, oh, it just sounds like Motorhead.
Call everyone dude.
But that's a good thing, because I think you're right, it kind of...
Absolutely.
It's a thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's in the air.
I was discussing this coincidentally with Aaron from My Dome Bride about how is it there's 12 notes you can choose from, and yet all these bands like My Dome Bride, Paradise Lost, all that, all sound like Bradford.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Geographically it sounds like that, and then London bands sound like London, Manchester bands sound like Manchester. How does that happen when there's only so many notes and so many variants you can do?
I don't know. Yeah, I guess maybe it's a subconscious thing. You know, well, I'm sure Harry. You know, we brought up on Motorhead, Zeppelin, The Who. You know, I mean, personally speaking, you know, those old English rock bands. And we've played in the States or in Europe, and lots of times people have said, "Man, you just sound like an English rock band. It's cool."
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I didn't mean to. It's just,
Yeah.
I guess it's just a subconscious
Yeah, it's not an
thing.
intentional thing,
Yeah,
but
it just happens.
I think what part of what makes it good is you can hear the honesty in it. You know,
The integrity.
This band sounds like they're from London because they're being honest, or this band sounds like they're from Bradford because they're being honest. They're not trying to be something they're not. I think
Absolutely.
that honesty is also part of the British sound. It's not overproduced. It's not like over compressed and you know all this shit.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah, totally. And that's what makes it so that bands like yourselves can last the test of time, and like, you know, and you have this hardcore fan base who will never leave you. It's because that integrity, that honesty.
And I
you
think
know,
that's one of the reasons we have been going so long, is because we've just got this incredible group of people that have just followed us for 30 years. You know, we had people yesterday, and I'm sure, and we already know we've got people here tonight. They've just kind of stuck by us, and we've had 6 years, 7 years between albums, like this one. Probably thinking, are they going to bother? You know, but a lot of people would have just got bored and gone off to someone else, and they've stayed with us, and that's really,
absolutely.
it's a really lovely thing, you know, and it's, you know, we owe them a lot.
I think it's something that is maybe with a generational thing as well, because the people who came up with your band would buy like one album a month, and they'd listen to it. Whereas my son's generation, who's like 17 now, he's got the history of music on his phone.
Yeah.
And so it's not that special. So there's an ownership with bands.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's a journey, isn't it?
Absolutely. And if you're a fan for life, sort of thing.
Yeah,
If
really nice.
our generation definitely feels that way. I mean,
Yeah.
how do you feel about Iron Maiden? You know, it's like you've been listening to them for years. They've got out a new album. I'm still going to listen to them. Of course I am. You know.
Well, I mean, it's a shame that people treat music that way, or some of the younger generation do. I know some people who are in their 20s who still buy albums and pore over the album covers and learn everything about it. But you know, in my day, it was like, what T-shirts are you wearing? Who are they? I'll go and find out what that is, and what are this band that I like? What are their influences? Then I'll go and check them out.
Yeah.
And a lot of people these days couldn't even tell you the name of the drummer in a band, let alone what his influence.
I mean, on the flip side of that is the good thing about it is, because you've got Spotify and all these, you know, these different outlets, is you can kind of do that, but in a split second.
Yeah.
So you are finding out other bands.
Yeah.
And the kids, you know, they will say, what are they like? Oh, they like this. Because you get that.
Yeah,
they sound
if
like
you like
this,
this, it'll sound
so
like.
you're going to get.
Yeah, I'm sure it does still.
There
happen.
is.
I'm
It
just
isn't
out of
all.
touch.
It isn't all. I mean, yeah, it was great to get an album. There's nothing better than getting a vinyl and smelling it and seeing it and opening it up.
Oh, absolutely.
And the whole kind of
Rolling a joint on it.
Excuse me, we don't do that. You know, just that whole the experience, but it's a different thing now. It's kind of, and we'd be in our granddads where we go, oh, what? It wasn't like in our day.
Yeah,
it isn't. But
I do catch myself doing that. It's like, am I just being an old man now?
Well, I've got a 13-year-old and an 18-year-old.
Yeah.
Two boys that. And I kind of, what are you listening to this rubbish for? What, you know, if only, but then I have to kind of go,
The thing about it, that being the old band thing, like, it goes back to the buzz you get off of writing and recording a record and playing in a band. Like, I still get the same feelings I did when I was 15, 16 doing it. So you forget, and the oldness goes away. It's just a matter of taste and how you produce your music. That's like we do it in a more kind of old-fashioned way, I guess.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And some would say the best way.
I would definitely say that, but you know,
Us old guys would say the best.
We'll say the best
It
way.
is the best
We'll
way.
say it is. The old ways are the best ways.
Always.
I'm open to someone to prove me wrong.
It's quite funny. I was speaking to a band the other day, and they said, "Oh, we've got this new idea. We've got a thing called a street team. People go out with flyers." I'm like, "That's not a new idea, mate."
We were doing that back in the early days, and people before that were doing that.
Oh, how do you promote things now that Facebook's on the wane? And it's kind of like, well, the way we
But
used
also,
to, yeah, flyers.
that was an event. You know, you'd go out on a Friday night. You wouldn't have money to go to see the gig.
No.
But you'd stand outside the gig you wanted to get into, but you didn't have money to get into it. But you could at least hand your flyers out.
Yeah.
For, you know.
I used to take a battery operated tape-to-tape machine with our demo in one side and go up to people and go like, if you've got a tape on you, I will record our demo for you.
Oh, that's
Wow.
very enterprising.
And we copy our demo onto people's tapes so they give us a quid or whatever, and then we get the money and go and spend it at the bar.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But a lot of what this generation doing is kind of like just a digital version of what we were doing before. It's like tape trading, stuff like that. You know, that's the same as people sending each other links and whatnot.
Yeah,
you know,
it's a different avenue.
Absolutely.
But those flyer days, you would hand out the flyers and you'd end up somehow getting backstage and getting into the gig. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, especially from because you guys are London, weren't you?
Yeah.
Because I know because we used to go to the same pub.
What one?
Intrepid Fox. Yeah, it had to be Fox, yeah.
Yeah,
classic,
the Fox.
Right?
Yeah. There wasn't many Friday nights when there wasn't a member of Orange Goblin around.
Yeah. It was normally Chris and Ben in those days. You know, I was always kind of hanging around.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the Intrepid Fox or it was the Crowbar.
Yeah.
Or George or,
Yeah.
When there was a club every street. Now
Absolutely.
It's impossible to find.
It'd be remiss of me not to say, gone but not forgotten. Absolutely.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
God rest his soul, Pat.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
He was a great guy, man.
But London around about that time, like when I first experienced your band, British rock in general was having a little bit of a renaissance then as well. You had the Wild Arts knocking around, and you were really making your presence felt. Seems to be supporting everyone back in those days.
Well, we're talking like late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
He was a.
I was in another band at the time. I couldn't get a gig. These boys were all over it.
Yeah.
But saying that, you were always there. Harry was always,
I was a fan
hanging
of the
out.
band. I was a fan of Orange Goblin from the beginning. I was always there, mate.
So how's that feel?
You just got unlucky, and now you're even unluckier that you're in the band.
Yeah, it's worse now. I never get to see him play.
Harry had no choice. You're in our band.
How does that feel though, joining an established band like Orange Goblin that you've been a fan of?
I mean, I say I've been a fan of, but I love their music, but I've also known them as friends.
Harry, from the
beginning,
he was.
I was at their first gig, and I think my band were also on the bill at the time.
Right.
We hung out, and we got to know each other. Joe and Martin, I remember coming to see my death metal band in the early 90s or whatever, before Orange Goblin was even a thing. So we kind of already knew each other, and we just supported each other and each other's bands as they grew up, and then these guys did well and I didn't.
Which is an absolute crime because Harry is. I'm gonna.
Well, this is your first album with the band, isn't it?
Recording.
Yeah.
But Harry's done loads, man. You should check out Harry on his own.
Absolutely.
The bands he's been, the avenues, and just the creativity is insane.
I get bored easily and stuff.
But he can sing. He can play bass. He can play guitar. He can write. He's just piano, ballet.
Interpretive dance. So this is, I have to say, you're meeting us here on launch day. This is a special day.
The album is born.
It's out today. You've given birth. You have to give it away to the world.
Yeah.
What they do with it now is up to them.
Do we have to eat the placenta?
I think that's touring, isn't it?
Well, the placenta today, the way we celebrated today, our album launch day, is we spent 6 hours driving from London to Leeds.
Right,
It was the worst day of traffic in the whole
Yeah, it was supposed to take 3 hours, but it's Ben's driving. That's me fired.
So is it like you just doing this one-off, or
We did a show in London yesterday.
Oh, right, yeah.
Because we've also got a beer that we've
oh yes
collaborated with Signature Brewery, and they've done an amazing Pilsen for us.
Awesome.
Orange Goblin. So we've got our own Orange Goblin beer, which is great. It's really good. Signature brewery.
Signature Brewery. So
Yeah,
if they go
check
to
them
the
out.
Signature Brewery site,
We went to their brewery, which is
Yeah.
in Walthamstow in East London, and
Yeah, you can order it online from their site, but apparently they've sold most of the first batch already. I don't know if they're going to do a second batch, so
Right.
get in quick if you want to buy it.
yeah, and it's good. It's we wanted a real straightforward summer Pilsner drink. It wasn't too fruity and too
Nice.
kind of. We just wanted it straightforward.
Yeah, something you can get pissed on at a festival.
Yeah.
sounds
And
sounds like
really
it'll sell a
good.
lot.
They absolutely nailed it. So yeah, that's good. So yeah, we did that yesterday,
Awesome.
and yeah, we're here today, and we're really looking forward to it.
Awesome.
Today as well.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you myself. I'll be running around with my camera. Just is it back on tour then for a while? 'Cause you know,
It's festival season, so we're away from Thursday till Monday next week, doing 2 festivals in Germany.
Cool. Wacken, is it?
It's Rock and Wald Festival in Germany. I'm sorry if I got that wrong, and then Blue Moon Festival in Germany on Saturday. God, I remember something.
I
That's
thought
the first time
you
ever.
were going to ask me. I've gone, oh.
And then it's like every weekend we have
Wicked.
festivals, and then in October we're doing our UK
Stint.
stint. UK, Ireland, Scotland.
Yeah, probably
Yeah.
UK tour, so that's going to be fun.
So it's
Awesome.
It's going to be fun, and then next year, who knows? We got
No doubt you'll be hitting the road.
We'll
big-
be hitting the road.
big
Well,
stuff.
next year's the 30th anniversary of the band, I do believe. So
Huge.
there
Oh.
are some plans to do some cool stuff, I believe.
There definitely are. There definitely are.
Awesome.
What exactly? I don't know. Ben's-
First gig on Mars, apparently.
Well, with the new album, I kind of believe it.
It would be quite good, wouldn't it, to do that? Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being
Thank you,
with me
man.
today.
Thank you for
It's been an absolute pleasure. Orange Goblin, Science Not Fiction, it's out now.
Cheers.
Thank
Get it.
you.